Clubs punching above their weight in the Coca-Cola Championship. One of them is certainly Watford, joined 5th on points thanks to some astute management by Malky Mackay. Dominic Johnson reports.
A revolution has taken place in Hertfordshire, where Watford are this season combining style with substance. And a lot of their success is down to some canny business from Malky Mackay. He's brought in players on loan who have a point to prove.
It can be hit or miss sometimes. I think you've got to do your homework on the player. I think you've got to have contacts at clubs that you can find out bits and pieces about players, their character, their work ethic. The younger ones, they're coming to be developed. So does the club trust you to develop the player, and can the player handle playing at championship level? And that's key. Can the player handle coming to a championship club and playing at a very physical, taxing league and stepping out of reserve football?
Tom Cleverley's managed the transition from Manchester United well and has extended his stay until the end of the season after 6 goals in just 14 matches.
I had 1 day training and then I was starting against Nottingham Forest, so that's how quick it all happens, and you've got to be lucky sometimes, I suppose. I went in, I played well and scored on my debut, and I scored in my first home game against Blackpool. So those 2 games helped me massively. But it is hard to settle in, but I've been luckier.
England under-21 keeper Scott Loach has seen lots of changes at the club, and he thinks that with the help of the loan players, a top 6 finish is a realistic target.
I think people wrote us off at the start of the season because if you look at our squad, we're a young side, and I think 7 of us are below 22, but we've shown that means nothing. Everyone's bonded very well. I think we've shown teams that we're not just a big side at Hoofit, you know, and shows us the talent coming through at the club, that we can get the ball down and play, and we're not beating teams physically, we're beating them footballly as well, and I think that shows a great sign of the work that Malky and the management have put in this year.
4 wins from the last 6, and only being outside of the top 6 on goal difference has increased expectation levels on and off the pitch. But that's something the players are relishing.
Last week was the first time where people were thinking it's a Watford win when we played Scunthorpe at home. With all respect to Scunthorpe, I think that was the first time this year where people have thought Watford should win this game. We've won the last 3 home games on the trot, and we're all confident. I think we can really get a run together.
If you take your eye off the ball and you start seeing you're doing really well at the moment, 6 weeks later, 6 defeats later, you're sitting somewhere in that bottom 3, and you're not quite thinking that. The consistency is the thing we're all striving for. It's the one thing that can make or break you, and I think it's not until that last week of the season you determine whether you look at it and you say, did the position we end up in, is that when we thought we were going to be at the start of the season? Is that an overachievement or is it an underachievement? And that's when we'll be looking at that.
For a first-time manager, he's doing really well, isn't he, Malky? Especially in the transfer market with the loanees.
Yeah, and sometimes that's what you're judged on. But you're sort of unlike Sheffield to a degree. Where he's gone, he's boxed cleverly, can I say? And he's gone for youngsters who had decent spells at other clubs, you know, likes Cleverly at Leicester, and then Lansbury at Scunthorpe as well.
Hungry players.
Very hungry, young and hungry and ambitious. And no fear, that's the thing. But you've got to give him an environment to flourish as well, George. So that's where Malky's done really well. Go out there, express yourself, and he'll have people in the team to, you know, tell them the job and make sure that they're doing the right things as well as off the ball as well as on the ball as well. But, you know, and the last thing you want to face is a Watford side at home when you're conceding goals. And I think that's 35 in 70 games for Scunthorpe now.
Whether they can keep any of those loanees is a different matter. Helgeson has come back to be the legend again at Watford, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Scored 2 goals against Scunthorpe.
Yeah.
But you know, I think Queen's Park Rangers are paying about half his wages at the moment, so it's going to be difficult to clinch those deals.
Yeah, it is, but it'll all depend on when they come up for renewal, what position Watford are in, whether it's, you know, it's worth the gamble to try and secure one of them last playoff places. It's as simple as that, and that will dictate. So the finances won't dictate. It'll be the position that they're in. And you know, I know a lot of the Watford fans, if they're in sort of, you know, 8th to 9th place with a sniff of them playoffs come around New Year, they'll be desperate for to make them signings permanent. But playing with such freedom, really, and it's a joy to see, because you know, over the last couple of seasons there's been some real disappointing times there, and an element of realism from the Watford fans, I think.
Crystal Palace next for them. They've been slumbering for a while, but perhaps signs of them stirring. Dan Ambrose, why is he scoring?